Mr. Studdert.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished panel members, I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. I'm very proud to be joined by Captain Ed Soliday, who was United's Vice President of Safety, Security, and Quality Assurance from 1991 through 2002. The September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks against the United States were first and foremost personal tragedy. My heart and the hearts of all of us at United go out to the victims and their families. This was also a profoundly personal loss for all of us at United, as I know it was for our colleagues at American. 18 of those who died that day were our co-workers, friends, and family members, and 76 of them were our innocent passengers. All of us who were affected applaud and support the work of this commission. I know that United will do its part to clarify the events of September 11th and to help improve our nation's security system. I would like to cover three main areas today. First, the roles of government and airlines in our security system and United's commitment to security. Second, a review of the events of 9/11 as we experienced them at United. And third, some brief recommendations that the Commission might consider. Both the United States government and the aviation industry play vital roles in aviation security. As the Commission knows, the United States government has been and must be the central player in aviation security. The airlines, in turn, must work hard to implement government directives as quickly as possible and to provide the government our feedback on the practicalities and effectiveness of those measures. We at United strive to be a constructive, active, and innovative participant in the system. United's commitment to security is an integral part of the company's culture. The foundation of our work is anchored in the safety of those who put their trust when they choose to fly United. The central importance of safety and security is reflected in our corporate structure and organization. United has a high-level executive, Vice President, Safety, Security, and Quality Assurance, with true independence from the operating units of the company. This VP has direct access to the Chief Executive Officer, the Head of Operations, and very importantly, to United's Board of Directors. Since its inception, this position has always been filled by a highly experienced senior captain. We take pride in the fact that our safety and security staff have been asked to serve on a broad spectrum of safety advisory boards, security advisory boards. Fundamentally, United's approach is to be part of the security solution. With United's commitments to security as background, let me recount what happened at United September 11th, 2001. It started as a normal day. By the way, all my times are in Eastern times from a confusion standpoint, so let's make that point up front. We had more than 120 domestic planes and 27 international aircraft in the air, and more than 40 flights waiting to take off. At 8:14, United Flight 175, Boston to Los Angeles, under the command of Captain Victor Saracini, was wheels up. United Flight 93, Newark to San Francisco, under the command of Captain Jason Dahl, was wheels up at 8:42. Shortly before 9, I was having my usual morning meeting with Jim Goodwin, then United CEO, when my secretary burst into the room with a report from our operations center that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. I immediately left Goodwin's office and ran to our operations center in our world headquarters. What follows is a timeline of the events that happened that day at United. At around 8:50, a call came into our San Francisco maintenance center from a flight attendant on Flight 175 saying that the flight had been hijacked. This information was quickly relayed to our Chicago operations center. At approximately 9 o'clock, a United dispatcher reported that he had lost contact with Flight 175. At 9:03, a second plane hit the World Trade Center. American reported that they believed it was another one of their aircraft. We later learned it was United Flight 175 with 60 people on board. As detailed in our emergency response plan, our SOC managers activated our crisis center. This action triggered the mobilization of more than 3,000 United employees who serve as or support our GO teams, which assist victims' families and the authorities. We contacted the local FBI. They responded immediately with a team who had been trained in the use of United's computer systems and had practiced emergency response with United on several occasions. Throughout the morning, we were in constant contact via hotlines with the government agencies and other airlines. At 9:21, United dispatchers were told to advise their flights to secure cockpit doors. At 9:24, a United dispatcher sent a message to Flight 93 reading, "Beware of cockpit intrusion. 2 aircraft in New York hit Trade Center buildings." Flight 93 responded to this message at 9:26, requesting that the dispatcher confirm the message. Despite numerous attempts to reach it, that was the last time we heard from the cockpit of Flight 93. At approximately 9:30, after discussions with our operating managers, the decision was made to ground United's fleet. At 9:35, San Francisco Maintenance Center received another call from flight attendant on Flight 93 saying that the flight had been hijacked. Again, this information was passed quickly to our ops center. At approximately 9:45, the order to ground the fleet went to all the aircraft in the air. And even before this, some of our individual dispatchers had already started grounding flights under their control. Again at 9:45, we received a report that an aircraft had crashed into the Pentagon. We later learned it was Flight 77 American. We tracked Flight 93's flight path on the large operations monitor in our crisis center. At 10 o'clock, the blip stopped. At around 10, we lost contact with United's flights 641, 415, and 399. After persistent attempts, communications to these missing flights was reestablished. At approximately 1:06, United Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania, killing all 41 on board. At 10:20, we received confirmation from the airport manager in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, that Flight 93 had indeed crashed. Throughout that morning, we were dealing with a flood of information and issues. We were unable to establish contact with nearly a dozen flights. There were torrents of bomb reports, reports of 2 explosions at airports, reports of other threats and other hijackings. The threats fortunately turned out to be misunderstandings or hoaxes, and we eventually reached the flights. But nothing could be dismissed or ignored in the high uncertainty of the moment. United's Crisis Center remained in operations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for nearly 3 weeks, until we returned to more or less a normal operation. During those days and beyond, United's people all around the country devoted their energies to assisting the victims, families, and working with the FBI and other government agencies to assist in the investigation. In the wake of these attacks and all that has transpired, the question rightly is, what changes should be made to enhance aviation security? First, we must recognize that great progress has been made since September 11th, 2001, some of which can be seen, and much I know cannot be seen. And we commend the FAA, the TSA, and other bodies for all their efforts. We believe that national aviation security system can and should evolve further. Most fundamentally, there needs to be a vision, a goal for what the security system in this country should ultimately look like. We believe there are several key aspects of that vision, some of which we know are already underway. First, customer disruption should be kept to a minimum. The security system should be as transparent as possible to them. Second, the system should be fully integrated with the overall aviation structure in the country. It must be dynamic, flexible, and unpredictable to our enemies, and must improve continuously. The system must not depend on any single element. Its strength must come from a combination of integrated elements. There must be full participation from and communications among all the different entities in aviation security. No one organization has a monopoly on good ideas. Lastly, the system should focus on a risk-based approach in addition to today's threat-based emphasis. Under a risk-based approach, root cause analysis is used to identify the factors underlying multiple risks, and then they are cut off, even if they don't pose an immediate threat. Mr. Chairman, in closing, I return to where I began, to the victims and their families. Let us work together to learn as much as possible about the events of September 11th. We must then apply those lessons to make our nation's security system continually better and stronger, so that our enemies do not ever attack our country and its people through the aviation system. I thank the Commission again for all it's doing to advance this cause, and Captain Soliday and I welcome any questions you may have.